So this is Joe Leigh here for Seconds Out with Michael the Count Bisping, here to talk about BT Sport Fight Night on pay-per-view this weekend. Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. It's still shocking to even say that. But first of all, Michael, how are you? I know you've been dabbling in the world of YouTube yourself recently, starting kind of to get active on your own channel. How are you finding things?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks very much. Nice to talk to you. Yeah, I started using a YouTube page. I did one like 10 years ago and never used it. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to start putting some videos up. So I did that and I started getting a good following. But if I was to spin this camera around now, you'll see tons and tons of boxes. I've stopped doing it because the setup was crap, to be honest. So I've just spent about 10 grand on equipment. So I got a producer coming in. We're turning this room into like a mini, well, not a mini studio, full on studio. So keep an eye out for that in the next few days. But Michael Bisping YouTube page, give it a follow. Yeah, man. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley. Is this some like weird bloody parallel universe we're living in? Because it's mental to say that, but I am excited for it, if I'm honest.
Okay, let's get straight into it. Is YouTube boxing good for traditional fight sports, traditional boxing and MMA?
I'm sick of all this celebrity boxing lark. I really.
Oh, really?
Am.
Okay,
yeah. No, listen. What Jake? I don't put Jake Paul into that category. I think Jake Paul's a real fighter. I really do. He's doing everything he needs. He's young. He's working hard. He's surrounding himself with the right people. Just because he comes from a Disney and a YouTube background and he's got money doesn't mean he's not allowed to have a passion for combat sports. So God bless him. He's doing all the right things. And he knocked out Ben Askren. Ben Askren showed that. Of course, you know, he's not a good boxer, but he's always had a good chin, and Jake knocked him out, you know, so fair play to Jake Paul for that. But what I don't like is what we're seeing now with all this celebrity boxing and bloody everyone thinking it's fun and games to step into a ring and fight. You know, oh, it's all fun and games. And we're seeing that Eddie Hall and the Mountain or whatever, these strongmen, they're going to fight soon. I've got no interest in seeing two big, massive guys blowing out their backside, throwing with terrible technique. Don't get me wrong. The reason why fighting sports are so popular is because people like to watch fights. And if I was sat in a beer garden in a pub and two old dudes across the street that were out of shape, yeah, of course, I'd sit and I'd watch it. But when I'm paying to watch it, I want to see the best. I don't want to see a bunch of TikTokers doing it. I don't want to see anything like that. And the main reason I don't want to see it is because they're not built for it. And I feel that people aren't giving boxing or mixed martial arts the respect that it deserves. Look at what just happened to Conor McGregor. I have lost an eye. I've got no knees. I've had about 25 surgeries. This is not a game. And these people are going in there half-cocked, underprepared, and they're throwing punches thinking it's all fun and games. Somebody could die. Somebody could get hospitalized. They could have the jaw broken and be drinking through a straw for the next 6 months. So that side of it, I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. And I hope that nobody gets injured. But with Jake Paul, I don't put him in that category at all. I think he's doing great things. He's building a lot of hype. You know, I think he's bringing in a new demographic to boxing, and he's coming at it with a proper approach. He's putting in the work and he's picking off people one by one.
A question I often ask fighters before fights is who has more to lose? But in this fight specifically, I think it holds a bit more weight because you've got obviously a YouTuber who could seriously embarrass Tyron Woodley if he loses. And then you've got obviously Tyron Woodley, if he beats Jake Paul, it's kind of a lot of people hate him anyway. I don't know if do you dislike Jake Paul? But most importantly, who do you think has more to lose?
Yeah, well, do you know what? I don't dislike Jake Paul. I don't know him. I actually did have a conversation. I'm involved. Well, I'm a partner in a company called Playline. So we were going to do some business with him. And I was kind of surprised on the call to see how
humbled.
Yeah, he's a pretty intelligent guy. You know what I mean? And so I was kind of surprised. To answer your question, who's got more to lose? It's Tyron Woodley. Simple as that, you know, because for Tyron, he's a friend of mine. I like Tyron and I wish him the best and I'm rooting for him this weekend. But he's trying to reinvent himself as a boxer, you know, and I think Tyron, I don't know his financial situation, but I know he talked about it recently. I think at one point when he was the champ, he fell into the trap that a lot of young athletes do, you know, overspending and things like that and just trying to live that championship lifestyle. Unfortunately, he lost his belt and he lost the next 4 or 3 after that. And he got released by the UFC. He's looking to reinvent himself as a boxer. He's looking to make some money. He's looking to become Tyron 2.0, right? And he's looking to eradicate this myth that he's done as a fighter, and certainly going up against a YouTuber that brings tons of pressure. because Jake Paul, you know, yeah, he's starting to get the respect, but I think he actually should have more respect. And for Tyron, there's incredible pressure there, because I believe it's a real fight. I believe it's going to be a tough fight. Jake Paul's taller, he's longer, he's younger, he's probably faster, he's got the punching power, he's got great training partners, and he's got more money and more resources for a better training camp. So for Tyron Woodley, if he loses this, it could be potentially his career as a boxer is over before it even started. And it also could put the nail in the coffin that his career as a fighter is potentially done. So it's tremendous pressure for Tyron Woodley this weekend.
Yeah, I think from kind of a boxing perspective, when Mike Tyson lost his last couple of fights, everyone said he you know, they look at him as the champion he was, but going out in the way he did to the people he did, was very, you know, it kind of tarnished his legacy a bit. Obviously, if he just left it in the UFC, he's gone out against the 4 toughest guys: Vicente Luque, not Darren Till, Usman,
Covington, Burns.
Yeah. I watched all of the fights, but yeah. So, you know, it's very different to losing to Jake Paul. So it definitely will tarnish his legacy. But the next question is, why do you think he's doing it? And what's his main motivation?
Well, it's the same motivation that all of us do it for. Well, not Jake Paul. Money, simple as that. You know, Tyron's almost 40 years old. He will have made a lot of money through the UFC. I know he made a lot of money, you know, but I think he also spent a lot of money as well. Again, I don't know the ins and outs of his finances. I'm sure he's not broke, you know what I mean? But does he have enough money to retire and live the rest of his life? I don't believe so. Probably not. He's parted ways with the UFC, so therefore, you know, there's other opportunities within the UFC, like I commentate, and there's analyst work and all the rest of it. So he hasn't got that to fall back on. I know he's, you know, spent a lot of money chasing his rap career, you know, and God bless him, that's his passion. Hey on it all you want, but you know, that's his right to do that. And if he wants to do that, good for him. But I think maybe he was financing all those rap videos and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Music videos. It's not going to be cheap. So he's looking to make some money, you know, and this is what he does. This is who he is. You know what I mean? And if there's nothing else to do, if there's no other opportunities, if he's not in the charts being a rapper, if he's not making tons of money being a movie star, then what is he going to do? You got 2 options. You go get a job and say that's over, or you say, come on then, let's fight someone. So he's going to fight Jake Paul. And that brings a lot of pressure, because with the resume that Tyron Woodley has, he's supposed to win this fight. Jake Paul is supposed to lose, but I don't know if that's going to happen, because again, Tyron's older, Tyron's on the downslide, and Jake Paul's young, right? And Jake Paul's motivated.
From another kind of perspective, I feel like, although you just said Tyron Woodley's supposed to win, Jake Paul kind of is the A side, do you know what I mean? Because he's the one who picked Woodley. He's the star of boxing at the moment. And I feel like he's almost picked Woodley because he knows he's on a 4-fight skid. And he knows that could be a step up to, say, when he fights Tommy Fury, someone who's dedicated himself to boxing for longer than Tyron Woodley, who's obviously, he's been a fighter. He's got that aggression from being an MMA fighter, but it's a different sport.
Yeah. Oh, no, completely different sports. And that's another thing why I'm concerned for Tyron this weekend, because they're so different. And Tyron was a very, very good wrestler, and that was part of his strength as a fighter. Of course, towards the end, he wasn't looking for takedowns, but the threat of that takedown's always there. And I've been there myself. I've been in there with fighters that can wrestle, that can't box to save their life. But because you're worried about the takedown and you think every time they move, they're going to shoot for your legs. So you're waiting for that, and you're obsessing over the wrestling, and then bang, they punch you in the face, and you're like, hold on a minute. You're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be trying to wrestle me. The point that I'm making is the wrestling accentuates the boxing. He hasn't got that now. He hasn't got that to fall back on, and he can't kick either. He can only throw hands, and he's the shorter guy with the shorter reach. And they are significant things to have in boxing: a reach advantage and a height advantage and a youth advantage. Less miles on the clock, never been knocked out, never been beaten down, never been through surgery. Jake Paul is the man right now. He is the A side. He's choosing the opponents. He's picking the opponents. He's got more resources. He's got more money in the bank. He's got the big Hollywood trainers and all the rest of it, you know, the boxing champions. So yeah, it's you know, what Tyron's trying to do here, which is crazy, is he's trying to rock the apple cart. You know what I mean? Because he's coming in here, and Jake Paul's the favorite with the bookies as well, which is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, but I feel that the bookies kind of see what I fear for Tyron. You know what I mean? What is it? What is he trying to do? I know he's training hard. I know he's pushing himself to the limit, but all that obsessing over winning the fight maybe is detriment, because he's going to have so much pressure on Saturday night because he wants to reinvent himself. He wants to beat Jake Paul. He wants to make the money and have a second career. On the flip side, Jake Paul has a little bit of pressure because he wants to win the fight, but he hasn't got all that extra turmoil. He hasn't got all this baggage of, I need to prove to the world I've still got it. I need this because I've got 4 kids or whatever, and I've got to put them all through college. You know, Jake Paul's just a young man going out there, living his dream, living his best life, and having a laugh while doing it. So, mentally, it's very tough for Tyron.
Very, very quickly, can we have a prediction? Quick prediction.
Honestly, I don't know how it's going to go down. I will give you a prediction, but I don't know. I can see a scenario where Jake Paul outboxes Tyron Woodley, uses his reach, keeps him on the end of the jab, and then wears him down, and maybe even gets a stoppage in the later rounds. However, we've seen Jake early look good, look strong, explosive, and have good technique. What is he like as the fight progresses? Logan Paul against Floyd Mayweather looked okay. You know, it was a little sloppy or whatever, but then when the fight progressed, when it got past the 3rd round, Logan was exhausted. You know what I mean? And this is the difference. You know, it's all well and good going out there, being the man and banging someone out in the 1st round. But have you been doing the training?
We haven't seen Jake in the later rounds.
We haven't seen that. He's an unproven entity. And is he doing the road work? Is he doing the rounds of pads? Is he doing the rounds of sparring? Is he training the way he's going to fight? We don't know that, right? We know Tyron is. We know Tyron will be there. Prediction, I think I'm going to say Tyron Woodley. Right, that's simply because I'm rooting for Tyron. The reality is, Tyron's unproven in boxing. I don't know if he can box properly. It's very different from fighting an MMA fight to fighting a boxing fight. The sweet science very, very different. Yeah. We know Tyron has hands. He has power, right? There's just so much that we don't know. It makes it hard to pick. But I will say Tyron Woodley simply because I'm in his corner and I'm rooting for him, and I don't need a nasty text off him when he sees the headline that I'm picking Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? But there's a very good possibility that Jake Paul knocks him out. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to say Tyron Woodley.
You're just giving us that one, the headline with the...
Yeah, there you go. Well, there is a possibility. Yeah. There is a possibility, but I'm going to say Tyron gets the job done.
Okay, and then very quickly on the undercard as well, I know Tommy Fury's there, and there's obviously a narrative for him to fight Jake Paul. He's fighting one of Jake Paul's sparring partners, Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. He's had, I think, 5 fights in Bellator, 2 wins, 3 losses. His most recent fight was in Bellator, and that was, I think, 2020. And he's had 1 fight in boxing, which he lost about 4 years ago. That's Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. Do you know much about Tommy Fury? And what do you kind of make of him being on the undercard of Jake Paul, obviously building towards them 2 fighting if Jake Paul continues to win?
Yeah, I mean, if they both win, then that would seem like a logical next fight. Yeah. I mean, Tommy obviously is massively inspired by Tyson. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just being around that and seeing what he's done, taking over the boxing world, and you know, all the riches and the fame that goes with it. You know, for Tommy, he's going to see that, and that's massively inspiring. It's just to be around that. So he's working his ass off. He's working hard, and he's working his way up. Listen, he's not fighting the best competition, but you're not supposed to at that stage of your career. Again, that's why I commend Jake Paul. He's fighting Tyron in his 4th fight. He shouldn't really be doing that, but he is. Yeah. Tommy hasn't fought the best competition, and this guy kind of fits into a logical progression for his next matchup. As you say, 1 boxing fight, and he lost that. And, you know, an okay record in mixed martial arts, you know, so it'll be a tough fight. But I lean towards Tommy in this one. I think Tommy's going to get the job done. Yeah, and it will be interesting to see if Tommy Fury wins and Jake Paul wins, will they fight next? I don't know if they will. Because I don't think that fits what Jake Paul's looking for. He's not a big enough name. He's not a big enough star. And it might be too tough of a fight. You never know.
I think they will fight, but I think they're going to hold
down the line.
Yeah,
down the line. They're going to build to it.
Yeah, I think building makes a lot more sense. And the way boxing works, it's not like UFC where you just keep fighting number 1 contenders all the time. Yeah, As you know, the UFC, you just constantly fight the guys next in line or whoever it is. But just quickly on Daniel Dubois, Joe Cusimano, he's the US heavyweight champion, and Daniel Dubois is obviously massive in the UK. Are you like a big boxing fan? Because I know most of the stuff you do, like your life pretty much revolves around MMA.
Yeah, no, it does. I do enjoy boxing. I do. And I always try and watch the big fights. You know what I mean? And I always try and support British fighters, whether that's boxing or MMA. Yeah. But I am all in on mixed martial arts, and certainly the UFC. Yeah, that's my life. That's I'm obsessed with the sport. But I love boxing as well. You know what I mean? But it's like 80-20 MMA to boxing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm an encyclopedia of knowledge. I love MMA, you know. Am I an encyclopedia of knowledge of boxing? No, yeah, I'm not. But Dubois, I mean, this is a good fight. It's a really, really good fight. It's a solid undercard, to be honest. By the way, I think everyone on the undercard's making the most money they've ever earned before. So shout out Jake Paul for making that. Yeah, that's what someone said to me earlier in another interview.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. God bless him for that. That's really, really good. You know, and it's a decent undercard, some good fights on there. You know, it's a bit of a freak show, the main event, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited. Yeah. Dubois, I mean, he's looked fantastic apart from that one fight to Joe Joyce. So, you know, man, it should be a really fun night. I'm looking forward to it. Saturday, I commentate for the UFC. I finish at 10 p.m. I leg it to Vegas airport to make a flight for 11:30. Fly up to Cleveland via Detroit. I sit in Detroit for a couple of hours, get to Cleveland at 9 o'clock, hopefully get a nap, head over to the arena and watch the fun. And I can't wait to be there. All right.